everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tack Up Tuesday. I'm Janet Winters, your equestrian confidence coach, and we are coming to you from Ford Acre Stables, the fabulous Ford Acre Stables, which is the home of Denver and Pirate. And today's topic is on animal communication. And we have a special guest, Courtney French Moffat, who is an animal communicator, and she is here to talk about what is animal communication all about. How is it done? What can we learn by communicating directly with our animals, and especially our horses? So she's here and she's going to talk to Pirate and Denver. So we'll see what those two have to say. Hi, Sonia. Thank you for joining us. Well, now, Courtney, before we get started with the two of them, I wanted to ask you just if you could tell our audience a little bit about what animal communication is.
Sure. So basically the gist of it is that we are using our intuitive abilities to connect with their energy. All of the information that I get is coming from all of my 6 senses. So we know what the 5 senses are: your hear, taste, sound, touch, and feel. And then everyone also has a 6th sense, which is like your intuition. So sometimes I will see images, I can hear things, go through all the senses, and that's how I get the information. If anyone's done a reading either with me or any other communicator, you might have heard that sometimes animals speak in symbolism. We will get weird information that doesn't quite make sense, and we're like you have to figure out what exactly it is. So those can be a little challenging. Getting the information isn't bad, but deciphering the message, sometimes that's a little tricky. But if you can just kind of clear your mind and open up all of your senses, get grounded, just try to take some deep breaths, try to relax, try to, feel like you're grounded, feel like you're like relaxed and like in tune with like the earth. And you can like Google or like watch a YouTube video on how to get grounded, because that's kind of like another subject. But just relax yourself and open up all of your senses. Pay attention, because a lot of times, especially in the beginning, it will be not very strong. You might get a really quick image and it'll be very, very quick. And if you weren't paying attention, you're going to completely miss that you got it. Or for the longest time, I didn't think that I could hear, like my psychic sense of hearing. And then after taking some more training and things, I learned that I was hearing all along. It was my inner voice. It was my own inner voice. I thought that when I would hear something, it would be like somebody else's voice. And not to say it could be. I mean, you could hear someone else's voice, but from my personal experience, it's my inner voice that I'm hearing. So it's just practicing. It's getting used to doing it. It's paying attention to all of your senses. And the biggest thing is getting confidence in the information that you're getting, because a lot of, and I myself included, and I think pretty much everyone out there who is, learning how to do it, you think that you're making it up in your head, and you don't believe that the information you're getting really is from the animal or whoever you're talking with. So it's just about building your confidence and just being like, yep, this was not me, this was definitely them. The best way to get confirmation, like if you're talking with someone else's animals, get confirmation from the owner, and then you'll really know if it really was you or not you. So that's kind of the gist of it. Just clear your mind and open up your senses.
Okay. Well, when did you first get the idea about this? I mean, what sort of made you go, wait a minute, I'm like communicating with these animals, or I can communicate with animals?
I have been doing it my whole life.
Oh.
I just didn't know I was doing it.
Oh, okay.
And when I was a teenager, I went to Equine Fair in Columbus, Ohio. This was like many, many years ago. And there was a communicator there doing a demo, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. But I was like angry because I wanted to do it so bad, and I couldn't do it, and that would just been so cool. But I didn't realize I was doing it like on a lower level, like subconsciously. Now fast forward many, many years in the future, from that date, I was training someone's horse who, the owner did not abuse this horse. There was a previous trainer that abused this horse. So we had a lot of issues to get over. And I helped her with, a lot of stuff. I could not get this horse to stop bucking at the canter. And when we're saying buck, it was a rodeo.
Oh, geez.
And I'm
Worst
not that
nightmare.
rider that can stay on anything, so I didn't come off of her, but I felt like if I was going to come off her at some point. Like I felt like this was a train wreck waiting to happen.
Right.
And I tried this, I tried that. Like she was green, and and like nothing was working. And I was like, well, maybe she's really green. Maybe she just needs to get used to it, and I just need to ride the buck out. Nope, that didn't work. Then I had the strongest gut feeling. I needed to call a communicator. I had no idea who to talk to. I've never done this before. I just kind of Googled, and a whole list comes up, and I'm like, I don't know who to pick.
Yeah, right.
I ended up picking a lady. And the only reason why I picked her was because she had her calendar like online, so you could see like when her next available appointment was, and she had one the very next day. Well, I was riding this horse the next day, so I'm like, I need to talk to her before I get on this horse again. And so, and it was like the best thing that happened to me. Her name is Cindy Smith. She is down in Asheville, North Carolina.
Big horse country.
Yes. And when she connected with the horse, I did know a little bit about this horse's history. I was riding her for 2 months. I knew a little bit about her. She didn't want to know anything about the horse, right? She likes to just go and do it blind. And she, was telling me some things about the horse's past, and I was like, yeah, that's right. It was, as far as what I knew. And then I was like, why is she bucking? Like, what's going on? And she's like, it's the saddle. And I said, no, it's not the saddle. Like, we checked this. That saddle fits her. It has to be something else. She goes, no. Something is flapping on the saddle. And I was like, and I was not at the barn. I was at my day job. It was my lunch break. So I wasn't even with her or with the saddle that I could check. And I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what she's talking about. And here we figured out it was the latigo strap. It's a Western saddle. It's those leather straps that hang on the back. They're mostly used for decoration. You could also tie your saddlebags with them if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. But mostly they're used for decoration.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the little bit of history that I did know about this horse, and then what Cindy told me, we were kind of putting all the pieces together. So that trainer that had abused her previously, this horse was an Arabian saddlebred. She's hot. She likes to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This guy clearly didn't know what he was doing, and he could not get her to just walk calmly. Well, there's just some horses, they just don't want to walk calm because they're high strung.
Right, high energy. Mm-hmm.
Right. So his idea was, well, I'm going to make you run, and I'm going to make you run to the point where you're so tired that you're going to walk. Okay. That will work on my quarter horse who doesn't like to go faster than a stop. Yeah, I can do that one lap, and I don't even run her. Like, I'll canter her one lap around, and she's like, okay, Mom, we're good, No, that does not work on a horse that is really high energy and really hot. The more you run that horse, the more they're going to want to keep running. So, and like, I wasn't there to witness it, obviously, but we figured out that whenever she was getting tired, because she's going to get tired after a certain point. I mean, that's how it goes.
The body will eventually, yeah.
Right. He would take his rein, and he would just like whip her, because he's like, oh, you're getting tired? We're going to keep you running. So, didn't work. Horse didn't walk, you know what I mean? So whenever I was riding her, and those latigo straps would, dangle and touch her sides, this horse has PTSD.
Oh.
And it was right where those reins were hitting her. And that's when she would explode and start bucking.
Right. She just correlated that with the pain that she had had when he was doing that to her.
Yes. So we took the latigo straps off. Guess what?
Quit bucking.
She stopped bucking.
Amazing. Yep. You know what? I mean, it's funny you're describing that situation to me, and I know exactly what you're talking about because Denver is the same way. We call me Energizer Bunny, and so many times trainers would be like, "Well, Janet, just get out there and get him going and et cetera, and he'll calm down when you're going to ride him." Mm-hmm. Oh no, the more I lunged him, the faster he would go, and the more energy he would get. He just fed on it. So I know exactly what's going on with that. But that was great that in the saddle, you always think about something like, is there something like underneath the saddle that's poking them, or is the size wrong, and there's and all of that. To think that it was those little things that were causing all that to go on. That's amazing. That's really crazy.
And I was so mad because I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Like, it
Oh,
was something
but
so
that's weird.
simple, but
yeah, it's weird. And
Yeah.
you know, another thing that you were saying before that I think you said about the symbolism and everything, that again, that's one of those things that I'll bet you, and if you think about it later on, you know what I mean? It's like it might not dawn on you right away what that symbolism is, but then it's like a couple days later you'll be going, oh my gosh, now I remember something that happened, and it'll all make sense to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's get started with the horses, and actually Courtney has some tips for us about communicating with animals. So she's going to talk to you a little bit about that, and I'm going to go get Pirate, and then we'll see what he has to say. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. So I have 5 tips that I always like to share with everyone to have better communication and a better bond with any animal, not even just your horse. The first tip is that you need to tell them if anything is going to affect them in any way, whether it's something very small or something very big. Tell them what's going on, why it's happening, and the behavior that you want them to do, just so there are no surprises at all. So it could be something as small, like with your horse, to say, oh, we're going to go trail riding with our friends, we're going to load up in the trailer, going to do a short drive. It's going to be that state park that we always ride at. It's with the same group of friends. You know those horses, and just kind of just describe the whole ride so that they already know what's going to happen. And it could be something as big as maybe you're going to move them to a new stable. That's a pretty big thing. In most cases, most horses don't like to leave their home. I mean, certain cases they can, if there's issues at the stable, but you definitely want to, talk with the bigger issues as well. Why are you leaving the stable? Where are you going to go? What's your new home going to be like? Just try to lay out all those details. The second tip that I have is you always want to speak to them in positive language and never negative language. If any of you have ever heard that animals can see pictures in our mind, that is telepathy, really. And we all have that ability as well. It's if you're talking to somebody, if you're listening with somebody, or even if you're reading a book. Like if you read like a really good novel, as you're reading it, it plays out like a movie in your mind. This is an automatic feature that we can't turn off. So just like a very, very short example, if I was going to tell you that one of my barn cats, he's a male, he is a really fluffy orange cat, and he has 4 white socks, a white chest, and some white on his face. Okay? So as I was describing that cat to you, you automatically in your mind were thinking of what you thought that he looked like. So that's what I mean. This is an automatic thing that we do it, animals do it. The reason why we need to keep our animals positive, our language positive, is because there is no clear picture for the words not, N-O-T, and there are no clear pictures for the words don't, can't, wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't. So if you were going to ride your horse and you told your horse, okay, now when I get on you, I don't want you to buck. When I just said I don't want you to buck, what picture did I put in your head? I put a picture of a horse bucking because there's no picture for the word don't. So right there you were sending a mixed message because the picture you're sending is of him bucking, but you really don't want him to buck. So you want to instead say the positive of what you want them to do. Okay, when I get on you, I want you to be calm, obedient, and safe. And if you were going to, let's just say that you had issues with the canter departure. Let's say he does buck when you go to canter off. In your mind, I want you to envision a beautiful canter departure, flawless. He just goes right into it. It's very smooth, and you live happily ever after. So that's the image that I want you to put in your mind, and say the positive language rather than saying, okay, now don't buck. Okay? Okay, so Pirate's here, so we're going to continue with our tips when she's doing a horse change. But we're going to talk to Pirate right now.
Well, here he is, everybody, in the flesh. This is the Pirate King, and he is a 7-year-old Gypsy Manor.
Okay, so I'm going to ask him tell me like a little bit about himself and just get to know him a little bit. So just give me a minute while I kind of connect with him. Okay, so I'm getting that he is a very, he's pretty calm, and he seems like whenever you ride him, he does not have a lot of energy. He doesn't really seem like he wants to be that racehorse that wants to, go running through the woods, or that endurance horse that he could go like for hours and hours. He likes to take things a whole lot slower and calmer. He likes to ride with other horses that, go his speed. He doesn't like to ride with horses that are a little faster than him, because then he has to keep up. He's not really a fan of that. Let's see, what else you got to say, buddy? Okay, I'm getting, he says at times, depending on what kind of like footing or like surface he's on, sometimes his hooves get a little sensitive.
Yeah.
Do you ever notice that?
Yes, I do. When we're out riding, we go on gravel. And oddly enough, it seems like the smaller gravel bothers him more than the bigger gravel.
Oh,
which
wow.
I know it's all kind of weird, but so what we try to do is oftentimes we'll just seek out like some grass along the side of the road or whatever, and we'll just move over there. But he will definitely move to that area. I mean, he will let me know he wants off that gravel and onto that softer space.
Okay. Yeah. So he definitely wanted me to point out that to you, just so that you were, aware that if you're riding on like the gravel, or if it's like wintertime and the ground's frozen, maybe don't be cantering through the field, because he's just a little sensitive on his feet. Let's see, what else do you want to say, buddy? Okay, so he said that anytime that when you're riding him, if you're feeling like you're a little bit off balance in the saddle, he does not care about that. He doesn't seem like he's affected about that at all. He's just gonna keep going on and doing his thing. He doesn't give me the impression that he's the kind of horse who will, like, if you're like a little off balance, some horses will kind of like lean into you to try to maybe help you a little bit. No, I'm not getting that off of him.
He's on your own, sister.
yeah, pretty much. But he's saying that he doesn't help you because he feels that you will fix yourself, you will recover. So he has confidence that she'll be okay, she'll fix herself. I'm just going to keep going. But the good thing is at least, if you do have these moments of off balanceness, it doesn't affect him at all. He's not going to like get spooky or anything like that.
Great, good.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So I asked him, what is something, whenever you're riding him, what is something that he likes, something good that you do? And he says that your hands are very soft. And so he, like all horses really, would really appreciate that. So he likes the fact that your hands are very soft. Let's see. He likes it whenever you talk to him when you're riding. He says he listens to everything that you say. He understands everything that you say. And he really likes it. And I'm getting the feeling that if you're ever like in a situation, where it could be a little dicey, whether you're out on the trail or wherever you are, you talk to him to keep him calm. He feels pretty confident. He's not overly confident, but he definitely feels pretty confident. And he's told me several times that he knows what his job is. So whenever you're talking to him about, working through a problem or whatever's going on, he's listening to you. And he says that it's been, because he already knows what his job is, he feels that it's helping you more than it's helping him. When you're talking, it's helping you relax more. But it's all a good thing. Like, he wants you to keep doing it because it's helping you.
Right, absolutely. And I think, yes, it helps me, to be calm in my mind. And also, also it's the breathing thing, because if you're talking, you're breathing, and that's, the last thing you want to do is hold your breath, because that is a signal of fear, and that they'll pick up on that. So that's, and actually I know now that I'm not the only one that does this, but there are times when I will sing to my horse, and I'll sing, oh yes, and they seem to like that. But again, it's helping me because it's the breathing, and it's the relaxing, and just having, that your chill mind, basically.
Right. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to ask him, what is something that your mom does when she rides you that you wish that you could be changed, or that you don't like, or anything like that?
What are you doing?
All right.
Over there.
So he really wants you to know that, as he said before, he knows what his job is, and he wants you to just trust that he can do it. Just put your trust into him, and just let him do what he has to do.
That's great. That's a great thing to know. And, I have to say, I mean, he's, I do trust him, but, he hasn't had a whole lot of training. He is just he's just a really cooperative kind of horse that really wants to do, what you want him to do. And he's really smart, and he picks up things really, really quickly. And I just have to think sometimes, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to put him into something that he's not ready for or whatever. But so far he has been able to just pick up the ball and run with it, whenever he's in a situation. So so it's really, really great. And I'm glad to hear that he is feeling confident like that. Like I said, we just started fox hunting and so on and so forth. And that's pretty crazy, because there's all kinds of people around, and the horses and the hounds and everything else going on. So for him to be able to focus and do his job is really important. He's a good boy.
I feel like what you see is what you get. Well, you just get, he doesn't try to hide anything. This is him. It's just,
he's not sneaky or
no. And I mean that in a good way. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, does he have anything else he wants to tell us before we put him back and let him get back to his hay?
No. He's like, I just want to go back.
Okay. I just have one question. No, I've never put a blanket on him, because he gets a lot of fur. Is he warm enough in the winter?
I feel like he is.
He is.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good then. Thank you so much for your cooperation, sir.
All right. Thank
This
you.
is his first television debut. All right. I'm going to go get Denver. And Courtney, keep up with the tips. I think everybody's enjoying that.
Okay. All right. So, tip number 1, as we said, was tell your horses what's going on, why it's happening, and the behavior that you expect them to have. Tip number 2, speaking positive language instead of negative, so that you don't send a mixed message. So tip number 3 is following up with tip number 2. You have to believe what you're telling them. You have to believe what the images that you're putting in your mind. And tip number 3 can be pretty hard, especially when fear is involved with it. So let's just say, for example, that you did have a riding accident on your horse. Let's say you got bucked off, and so like we said before, you told your horse what was going on, where you're going, who you're riding with, all that stuff. You put the proper images in your mind, of just him behaving himself and acting like he's supposed to. But in the back of your mind, you have that little voice that is saying, he's not going to do it. He's going to buck, because he did last time and I got hurt. So, and I totally get it, because I've been there myself. But the more that you can believe in what you're saying, your horse is going to know it, and you're going to send a stronger message to it. So you just want to really, as much as you can. I understand. I can't even do it 100%, because we're just human. I mean, that's just how we are. But as much as you can, try to believe in what you're saying. Okay, she's not back yet with Denver, so we'll go to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to be used as needed, but you guys can, be the judge if you feel like you need to use it or not. Tip number 4 is giving your animals a pep talk. And you can use pep talks if your horse has fear, anxiety, if he seems depressed, if he has maybe like issues when he's taking his buddies away. Anything. It doesn't matter like what kind of, issues going on. You can certainly use a pep talk to help them, to boost up their self-confidence, to make them feel like, like they're okay and they can do it, and to believe in themselves. And some animals need it talked down because their head's this big. I don't know if you guys ever encountered any kind of animal, not just a horse, that just thinks that like they're like the top dog and they own the world. So sometimes they need a talk down. But basically with a pep talk, you want to do it minimum one time every day. And you're going to talk to them just like whatever you would say to a person, you would say to your horse. It's nothing different. But do it every day. And if it's bad, if it's like a pretty severe behavior, I would do it several times a day. If you can have other people give them a pep talk as well, I think that strengthens the message. And I use the analogy, if you have a 15-year-old girl who's in high school, when we were all that age, we all thought that we were fat and ugly, right? It's very normal to have like low self-confidence when you're around that age. The girl's mother would say, "Oh, honey, you're beautiful just the way that you are." But does that girl believe her mother? No. But she might believe it if 10 other people told her that she was, beautiful just as she was. So that's what I mean about having you give them a pep talk, but then other people doing it as well. And it will definitely help strengthen the message, and try to boost up their self-esteem. Okay, so she's back with Denver.
Hi, and this is the Duke of Denver, and he is a 16-year-old American saddlebred.
Okay. All right, Denver, what would you like to say? Okay, so I'm getting, he likes to go. he likes to run. I see an image of him like in an arena and just going lap after lap after lap, just as fast as he could go. He's showing me an image of his hindquarters where he stopped, and then all of a sudden he like burst into a gallop, like a racehorse, jumping out of the starting gate. He feels that he is very athletic, and he likes how he moves. So he's, he's very, very happy with, with his looks and with his movement and all that stuff. So he definitely got a big engine.
He thinks he's a rock star.
Yeah. Okay, what else is he gonna say? So he showed me this image. It was almost like if I was like stooped down right below his nose, he was like breathing on my forehead and like blowing my hair back with his breath. And he thought that was the funniest thing ever. He's a little bit of a ham.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Okay, let's see what else he says. So I'm picking up a little bit of soreness in his back. Do you have any issues with that?
He just seems to be like he gets tired if we're up on like a longer trail ride or whatever, and then he'll start bobbing his head. And I was concerned that there might be some soreness in the back because I had been riding him in a little bit smaller saddle than he had been using for years. So. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's something I should be, getting a bigger saddle. Do you think that would help?
Yeah, because what he did was when I saw the image of his back, he made me, like, I saw you sitting on him, and he made me zero in, like, right where you were sitting, like, that part of his back. Mm-hmm. I think it definitely could be saddle related, so maybe you just try a different saddle and, see if that changes up anything. Mm-hmm.
But he's not sore. He's not sore when he's not being ridden, though.
No, I only got that whenever he was being rode.
Oh, okay.
Now I will say this for everyone listening, that pretty much every single riding horse will have back pain to some degree. Okay. I mean, and if you think about it, like, if we're on their back and all the things that we do with them, I mean, it's almost like, how could they not get sore?
The weight's shifted and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, like for him, like I don't feel that it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, horrible pain. It's not like a 10 at all. Like it's just, maybe like a saddle change or something like that. And it's something that for you guys to think about. Like after you're done riding, maybe you just like kind of massage their, like the back area. You just give them a little massage because, I mean, it is a lot of pressure in one spot.
Right.
Yeah. Let's talk about your head bobbing, because you did briefly mention that before.
Yeah, that's he has started doing that like halfway through a trail ride.
Right.
And it's almost like I felt like it doesn't matter how long we're out there, he knows when it's half over. I don't know how he knows that, but he starts with the head bobbing, and it's a point where it's almost like he wants to pull me out of the saddle. And so then, I'm not really sure. I'm trying different things. I started giving him some magnesium, because they said that could be a deficiency. But even from a training standpoint, tell me this. The way I handled this the last time was when the head came down, I would bring it up with one rein, and when it would go down, I would say no. And then when I pull it up, I would release and say, good boy, as long as he kept his head up. Would that be the right way of handling that or not?
Me personally, if I was doing it, I would see he's doing it because he's frustrated because he wants to run. He wants to go. Okay. And he knows that you're not gonna let him just take off. So he's just getting frustrated, and that's where the head bobbing's coming from. So I would do something to distract him, like do like a circle, make him back up, do a side pass. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, just something so that his mind gets off of I want to go.
Right.
My old barrel horse, she would get like that when she wouldn't toss her head, but she would just get really fired up when we were getting closer to home. And it was really annoying. I just wanted her to walk.
Yeah.
And so
at that point you're tired too, and it's like, okay, let's just go. Let's just get home.
Yeah. So I would make her just like back up, so many feet, and we would do side passing or whatever. And then after a while, then she would, I mean, she always listened to me. She was okay with doing all that. But after a while, she was just like, okay, Mom, I give up. Like, I'll just walk. Yeah. I'm tired of doing this stuff.
Right.
So maybe try something like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. And let's see. I'm going to ask him what are the good things about whenever you ride him that he likes. Okay, so he's saying that he really appreciates how you are very, I don't know if the word is self-aware, if that's the right word I'm looking for, whenever you are dealing anything with him, whether it's physically, you're very, very easy on him physically. Like, he never feels like you're being rough or, anything like that. He also like emotionally. Like if he's ever, doing something he needs corrected, you never not to say you never raise your voice, but you never become verbally abusive. He never feels that like you ever get carried away with your treatment with him. You always like in your heart feel that you need to do right by him, and you're very conscious of how he's feeling and things. So he definitely really appreciates that. Let me see what else he says. Okay, so he also says that whenever you're out and about riding, whatever you're doing with him, you, within your control, really make sure that like wherever you're at, the surroundings, whatever you're doing, is safe for him. He knows that you would never like chance it and put him in a situation that could turn ugly. He knows that, and so so he trusts you and he trusts your judgment. So he wants to thank you for putting his best interest forward.
Oh, that's good, because I do, if I feel he's starting to get nervous about something, looking around, whatever, and he's just starting to get worried, I'll tell him, I'll just say, listen, buddy, don't worry, everything's okay, I would never put you in danger, and I said, and if we ever run into a situation where we need to worry, I'll let you know. Okay.
Anything else you want to ask him?
He's another one he doesn't want to wear a blanket in the winter night. He doesn't get as hairy as Pirate does, but he's just torn his blankets off. And so I let him out in all weather with no blanket. And does he stay warm enough? Is he good with that? And why doesn't he want to wear a blanket?
I feel like he's warm enough without. Like, I'm not really getting that he's cold or anything like that. But he doesn't like the shifting. Like just the feeling, like it just bothers him. It's just he just wants it off of him.
Yep. Okay. I can understand that, because he is a horse that he doesn't really like to be lightly petted. He likes, to be, if there's some, something going on there, or the brushing, you have to be like, he just doesn't like light things on his body. So
go big or go home. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, then we're going to go home, and Courtney's going to finish talking about the tips. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, so just to refresh, tip number 3 was believing your own words. You have to believe the message you're trying to send across. Tip number 4 is giving your animals a pep talk to help boost up their confidence for whatever issues that they're having. Tip number 5 is also used as needed, but you guys would know if your horses would need this. Tip number 5 is giving your animals a job to redirect undesired behavior. So I'll give you 2 examples. The first example, whenever I used to board my friend's horse for a little while. Her name was Luna. She was a Welsh pony. And just a real quick backstory on Luna so that you understand where I'm going with this. Luna's one of those horses, she likes to paw. She paws constantly. We had a dirt mound in the pasture. We did something and we were all done with what we were doing. There was a big dirt mound. She pawed it flat just because she could. It's like, okay, whatever. She also was our farm security. She acted like an alpha mare, that she wouldn't let anything in the pasture other than her and the other horses. And that went for my dog. And for all the barn cats, they were not allowed to even step foot in her pasture. She literally would try to kill them, even though, she knows it's my dog and my cats. She sees them in the barn, didn't care. You stay out of her pasture or else she's going after you. So, but she's security because, needless to say, we did not have a coyote or a fox problem. She made sure to that. But the story I was trying to make with this, I hurt my lower back, not bad, just kind of tweaked it a little bit. I was able to clean my stalls, but I wasn't able to pick up the muck bucket and walk it outside. So I was like, well, it's only going to be a few days, and I'll be better in a few days. And I'll just clean my stalls, because I didn't want them to not be clean for a couple of days, because that would just be gross. I was like, I'll clean my stalls and I'll just bank it up to the corner there, and then I'll, when I feel better, then I'll pick up the pile. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, oh no, Luna, she likes to paw. I'm gonna come in tomorrow and it's gonna be everywhere, and I'm gonna kill her, So and this was the first time I ever used the job technique, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna see how this job works. So she was in the barn, and I said, hey, Luna. I was like, you see that pile over there? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, I need you to protect it. And she looked at me like, what? Like I was crazy. And I said, no, I need you to protect it. And I, told her how I hurt my back and all that. And she was just like, you're crazy. And I was like, listen, you have to protect it from everybody else living in the barn. The other horses, the dog, the cats, everybody. Because this pile is very important to me, and I need to have it stay as it is, and I don't want them messing it up. You are the only horse that can protect this pile, because they are terrified of you. And this is one of those horses that would need to talk down with a pep talk, because her head's this big. This is her, okay? So she was just like, oh yeah, they're terrified of me. She's just sucking it up, right? And so I build it up and boost up her ego. And wouldn't you know, the next day that pile was not touched, and that is so unlike her. and so I still wasn't feeling good by the next day. Like I said, it was about 3 days for me to get better. I had to make sure that I acknowledged her for doing a good job. And I was just like, look what you did. I'm like, you're amazing. You're so scary, and I love it. And she's just all happy and stuff. And I was like, my back's still sore, so I still need you to keep protecting it. And so this went on for a couple of days. But like I said, every time I walked in the barn, I had to acknowledge her good job. And then I had to keep saying, okay, job's still on, still protect it. But man, she never touched that pile. So,
that's amazing. And it really is.
Yeah.
And she really, you had to keep boosting her up in that, because maybe if you stopped, she'd have said, wow, obviously I can go ahead and screw around with it now.
Right.
Exactly.
Or Mom doesn't appreciate me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome. And
cool.
And so that was one way how I was doing a job. Now the other example I wanted to give you guys, and so if you're having any kind of fear, riding your horse, and as we already talked about with the tips, so you're gonna, let them know what's going on. You're gonna put the proper images in your mind. Try to believe your own intentions. You're gonna give your horse a pep talk, like we just talked about. I'm gonna give my horse a job. My own horse has a job. Okay. Every time I get on her, I say, okay, Rosie, your job is to be calm, obedient, and safe. That is her job. And we repeat it many times. And just because I like to go the extra mile with things, I give myself a job, okay? Because I feel like it's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
So if she's going to be calm, obedient, safe, I'm going to be very clear with my messages, with whatever I'm doing with her. And I'm also going to be very easy on her. I'm not going to be spurring her, not going to be ripping on her mouth. I'm going to be very, very easy on her body, and also sending clear messages. I don't want to send a mixed message. Sending her clear messages. So every time I go to get on, like before I get in the saddle, like I state what my job is, so that so the intention is set. There's no no questions about it. And so that's something that you guys can do. You don't have to say the words, I want you to be calm, obedient, safe. I mean, you can if you want, but you guys can make it up. You can,
I like those words, though, because those are words that every horse should be.
Yes. And another thing that you guys can kind of extending off of that is tell your horses that it's their job to keep you safe. Okay? And they have to keep themselves safe too, but they really have to keep you safe, because God forbid, what if something happened to you, like if you had a riding accident? I mean, number one, like they don't want anything bad to happen to you because they love you guys. But also, if something happened to you, what would happen to them? I mean, I don't like to go to worst case scenario, but sometimes you have to go to worst case scenario, and you have to, what would happen to you? What would my family do with you? Would they sell you? Would they keep you?
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, laying it all out there. I like to be very, I don't want to say blunt with them, but I don't really sugarcoat things with them. Like I've talked to a lot of different animals with like different problems, and animals are just like people. Sometimes when I talk to them, like I can get through to them real easy, and their behavior changes. And some of them, like they're just stubborn, like they don't want to change. And I'll tell them, I'll be like, well, if you don't change, then your mom might sell you, or whatever it's going to be. Like I just believe in being very blunt, very clear, being very black and white with your message. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. But if you do this, this is what's going to happen. Just try to be as black and white as possible.
Okay. Yeah. I wish I had you around when we had Molly the dog. She could have used some good frank talking like that.
Yeah.
But she's out in Oregon now with the kids, so not my problem anymore.
Yeah. Okay. And then so those are the 5 tips. Just very, very quick overview. Tip number 1 is tell them what's going on, why it's happening, the behavior that you want. Tip number 2, using positive language, not negative, so that you're not putting the bad pictures in your mind, but you're putting the pictures of what you want to have happen in your mind. Tip number 3, believing your own words. Tip number 4 are pep talks. And tip number 5 is giving them a job to redirect undesired behavior.
Right.
Okay.
Very, very good. Well, I want you all to know that Courtney has a website, and actually Courtney is able to do animal communication via pictures. And could you describe a little bit? I mean, like if she live far apart and you can't get together in person or whatever, you could send Courtney a picture of your animal, and she could then have the communication with them and let you know what the animal is trying to convey. Could you give us a little bit of an idea how that works, Courtney?
Sure, with the picture?
Yes, with the picture.
Sure. So I like to have a picture where I can see their eyes, and I'm sure you guys have heard the expression, the eyes are the window to the horse's soul. Well, it's like that with all animals and even people, really. So I like to have a nice face shot. And what I do is once I relax myself, how I talked about getting grounded, like I said, you guys can like Google like what exactly grounded is, because we're not going to talk about that here. But once I relax myself and I get myself in the right state of mind, I'm going to envision my energy is being like stretched out of my body, and it's going to like make a bridge into that picture. And even though you might say, well, it's a picture, it's not the actual like animal. And I'm going to call out their name a few times to get their attention. It's telepathy. I'm going to, I'm stretching my energy into that picture, which really is going into wherever the animal is. It's kind of like probably hard to understand, like unless if you started doing it. But it's all about reaching your energy into that animal. Sometimes if I know the animal, like if I've talked to them before, I don't even need a picture anymore, just because I already had that connection. I can just think of them in my mind and pretend like my energy is making that bridge, for both of us. But if I've never talked to the animal before, then I definitely need to see what they look like, and it helps me connect a little bit better.
Right. Okay. Great. And everybody, I will post the information on our page here about how to get in touch with Courtney, and you guys can maybe have her talk to some of your animals, especially if you're having any real puzzling things that you're not understanding where they're coming from, and what their needs might be that you're not meeting, or you're just curious about some behaviors, having some bad behaviors that you want to know, like the bucking thing, the story you told about the bucking. It could be something completely that you would never ever figure out in a million years. But once you got that information coming right from, as they say, the horse's mouth, then you can solve a problem, and boom, it's a whole new world. Well,
do you want to talk about subconscious mind?
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to let everyone know about your subconscious mind and how the power of positive thinking can really, really be a game changer. So I think a lot of people know that your subconscious mind is what controls like your body. It controls your breathing, your heart, all of the cells in your body, just all of that stuff. It's pretty amazing because it does like literally like a million things like at once, and it's totally good at it. So it's pretty amazing. But what I learned was that your subconscious mind is also where all of your memories are stored. It's almost like a cloud server, like with computers. So everything is stored there. The problem with the subconscious mind is it doesn't know what's real and what's fake, what's good and what's bad. So for an example, if you're watching a scary movie and it's totally made up, there's no shred of truth to this at all, and you know that, but you're still scared. It's because it's your subconscious mind, and that's, and then you'll have nightmares and all that. So it can't tell the difference. I heard a really good analogy where your conscious mind is a gardener and your subconscious is the garden. So the gardener has to take care of its garden, doing whatever the right things are, plenty of sunshine, water, miracle grow, whatever you would do, to get a good garden. And then the end result, are you going to have flowers or are you going to have weeds? How did the gardener, tend to the garden?
That is a good analogy.
Yeah, I really liked it. I didn't make that up. I wish I did, but it's not me.
Well, you shared it anyway. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other thing about the subconscious mind is okay, you guys have heard like the saying, it takes 21 days to break a habit. You ever heard that before?
Yeah.
Okay, that is all relating to the subconscious mind. Your mind, your subconscious mind doesn't like change. It knows what you like, and it wants to keep you in that comfort zone. So anytime that you want to do something new, or you want to get brave and try to do this with your horse, just overcome a fear, your subconscious mind says, whoa, no, we're not doing that, because that makes you uncomfortable. You don't know what you're doing. You might fail, and just all this negative stuff, and it wants to hold you back and keep you in your comfort zone. So, and it's just one of those things, you just have to learn how to just overcome it. You just have to just push through it. So I thought that was really interesting, that's where that quote, 21 days to break a habit comes from. So you guys might ask, well, how do we, what do we do to help our subconscious mind? You need to feed it positive, good stuff. Okay. Remember, in the tips that I just gave you about how you want to talk to your animals positively, you always want to, don't even say the words "don't buck." Don't even put that image in their mind, right? You always want to, say what you want to have happen. Well, the best times, so it is the power of positive thinking. The best times to change your subconscious mind is whenever you're just starting to fall asleep at night. When you're in that in-between stage, and also right when you're starting to wake up in the morning. So those are the best ideal times to feed it the good information. So that's when you want to really start laying on the, I am a confident rider, my horse is safe, or, whatever the things that you're going to say. That's when you just got to pouring it in. And definitely throughout the day, when you're awake and doing, your thing, still keep preaching it to yourself. And then how I said with the jobs, my horse, she has to be calm, obedient, safe. We repeat that many, many times throughout the day. It's like our mantra. So you guys can come up with mantras. And I don't know if I'm saying the right word, acronym. When they take a word and then they
the letters.
Yeah, the letters. Each letter has a. So you can come up with your own acronym and repeat, keep repeating it throughout the day. My personal favorite, I saw it on a meme on Facebook. It was for fear, and you guys might have seen this. Fear. Do you forget everything and run, or do you face everything and rise? So I love that one. So that the fear's mine, right?
Right. That's one you can put in a frame and put it on your wall.
Yeah. So if you guys can just, and it takes time. You have to do this every day. You can't do it a couple days and then expect to see tremendous results, because you're not. You have to do it all the time. And it can, and if it's a really bad issue, if it's a very severe behavior or whatever it is, it might take a couple months to start to see change. If it's not quite as severe, maybe just a little bit of an issue, you might see change in a couple weeks to a month, which is 21 days to break a habit. Yeah, and your habits are from your subconscious mind. And that's where your personality is derived from also. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And again, as I said, I will post information on about Courtney's website so that you guys can get in touch with her. And I want to just thank you so much for being here. This was wonderful, and I really enjoyed finding out what Denver and Pirate had to say. Gave me some good answers. It gave me some good. I'm glad that Pirate is really confident out there, that I have to worry about that from him. And now I have some ideas about how I can make Denver a little bit happier and help him with those problems that he's going through. So I appreciate that. And of course, now our member of the week is Courtney Moffett, and everybody just have a really wonderful week. We're in our first week of fall now, and the weather is starting to cool off a little bit. I even have my vest on for the first time. But isn't it a great time to ride? Fall is like my favorite time to ride. It's really, really great. So everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week, next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, Facebook Live, Tack Up Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.